Welcome to the scenic setting for round 5 of the GT World Challenge Asia, sponsored by Paddock, AWS and Fanatec Okayama International Circuit in Japan. We're going to have the conclusion of one championship today, the Japan Cup. It's a championship within a championship, if you like. 4 rounds in Japan. That's 8 races. Fuji, Suzuka, Motegi and here. It's very warm already. Track temperature 42 degrees. That's 10 degrees higher than yesterday. Air temperature about the same, 31 degrees and climbing. It's hot, it's sticky. Humidity down a little bit, but 63% is very, very uncomfortable in any of these cars. A 1-hour race with a driver change in between. The fans have been flocking in, and particularly to see Maezawa Racing, because they've got their Ferrari on the front row. They've got a huge attendance here, their own stage, and the cars forming up. But yesterday was an absolute belter of a race. Let's go back and take a look at the highlights of a most extraordinary race with 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 positions. Let's look back at how it happened. On the front row of the grid, it was Vuitton into Fubusak on pole, but by dint of a marginally better start, Anthony Liu went down nose just in front and around the outside for Craft Bamboo Racing to take the lead. Hirobon swept up to 3rd position, and then suddenly you had the Lamborghini being spun around into the gravel at the first corner, and about half the field joining in the dusty run, the 992 Porsche in all sorts of trouble. Then Maezawa Racing, Pity Beer on Bankti, well, that's what caused the moment. He hit the 88 Mercedes, that hit the car in front off the track. Then the 87 R&B Racing Porsche off on the exit of turn 4. That brought out the safety car, that led to the red flag, and then the racing had to start all over again. And for Porsche Center Okazaki, they knew there was a lot of pressure for them. Some of the drivers pushing super hard. That was the Climax Racing Mercedes washing its front away. Now Vuitton into Fubusak out of the car, and Alessio Picariello getting on board. Now they pitted a lap ahead of the race leading Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes, but when the race was rejoined, the car that came in 3rd emerged in 2nd. So up to 2nd place goes Alessio Picariello, got right onto the tail of Craft Bamboo Racing's race leading Mercedes, but Danny Juncker, he resisted the pressure for a lap. He got the heat into his tyres, and then he really started to pick up the pace, and with every lap just edged out a tiny bit more to protect his lead and make it 3 wins for his teammate Anthony Liu. Great battling behind. The Nissan held on to 3rd place, but the car that came here leading the overall championship, the 88 Mercedes with Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, huge amount of pressure for him. He had to resist. It looked as though Porsche Center Okazaki could wrap up the Japan Cup in the first of 2 races at Okayama, but because Car Guy Racing went ahead, they're going to have to come back and do it on the Sunday. They've got a big mathematical advantage, but a driver who now leads the outright championship is the driver of this Mercedes, Anthony Liu, sweeping through the final corner, or more to the point, his teammate is, that's Danny Juncker, competing the job that Anthony Liu had done. 2nd place to the AAS Motorsport Porsche, and 3rd place to the Nissan from car number 500. But there are the winners, Anthony Liu and Danny Juncker. And the crowd is forming up, keeping cool where possible, and the stage is very much set. But let's go down to join Maezawa down on the grid with car number 22, KCMG, with their Honda, and find out where they think they'll finish today.
Eduardo, I thought it's about time to have a chat with you because you're the only Honda NSX competing in this championship. So tell me more about the car. What is it like?
Yeah, the car is really good. You know, with KCMG, we've been developing this car through the year, been improving. We started in Fuji, so we didn't start straight away in Thailand. But from Fuji onwards, we did a very good improvement. Actually, in Suzuka, we had the best lap time in the race. Yesterday, we had P3 in quali. So the car is performing really well.
So you mentioned you had P3 yesterday. However, you know, unfortunately, you had a good penalty. What are you looking forward to today?
Yeah, we'll try to have a good start. It's difficult to overtake here, but I think we have a strong pace. So we'll try to stay out of trouble and get some places ahead.
All right. All the best luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So always interesting. Eduardo Liberati's been getting faster and faster. Their best finish so far is 8th, but let's treat you to a lap of the circuit with Naoki Yokomizo. He'll take us round this fabulous lap in the Maezawa Ferrari.
Hi, this is Naoki Yokomizo, Maezawa Racing. I introduce Okayama International Circuit. So braking point 70 and shift down, fifth to 2nd. And next turn 2, little bit brake, and this is little bit off camber. And the next high speed S, flat out, then downfield, braking point about 70, shift down 52 and exit is very important. And this is longest straight. And a braking point about 100 meter, fifth to first gear. Very hard braking. And ahead, double left-hander. So use a lot of carb, and the important is carry speed. And here is we call double hairpin. So braking point 50. So shift down 3 to first gear. And exit is very important. And the next is very exciting corner, Mike Knight corner, little bit off. And this is last corner, third to second. So exit is very important.
Well, what a lap and what a driver, of course. Naoki Yokomizo, one of the two races here last year. And the car he was driving was the Treble 5 Ferrari, the Mizawa car. And Amy is down there to talk to his teammate, Piti Birambakti.
Pity. So yesterday you had a quite unfortunate start, I guess. But I see that you brought the car back.
Yep.
How is it looking today?
The car is fine. We fixed everything, and it should be running very well today.
Okay. And starting from front row, that's quite big as well, right?
Yep, this is the best opportunity for us. And just tell Naoki to finish his stint, and I'll do my stint as good as possible.
All right. I wish you all the best luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Back to you.
The AAS Porsche is on the front of the grid, but ahead of them we've got a band of absolute supercars. Take a look at this. This is a fair bit of money. We've got a couple of Bugattis, including that astonishing Chiron in the cream colour, a Pagani Hiara, and the other side of the grid we have a Ferrari 599X, and these are the sort of cars. You can see the fans taking a look, and their jaws are on the floor. So they've been doing some laps earlier, and they're going to be at the front of the field. Obviously, they'll be released when we get released. 30 cars. We're missing one car from the grid today. Unfortunately, we lost the number 87 Bo Yuan-driven Porsche that didn't make it around the opening lap yesterday, and it hit just short of the Tech Pro element of the barriers, and the damage where it hit the tyre wall was too much. So R&B Racing have lost one of their cars. And now, let's look. We've got a whole group of... car number 7 is down on the grid. This is one of our camera cars. This is a car that clinched the championship yesterday, the Comet Racing Ferrari. They're number 7. They're the leading AM car down towards the tail of the grid, but they at least wrapped up the Japan Cup GT3 AM title. Now, one of the cars that's been going better and better through the course of this season is the number 11 Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute R8 LMS. And Amy is caught up with the star at the moment, James Yukwai.
James, you had your first win back in Motegi, proving your speed. How is it looking today, starting from this position?
Yeah, I'm really happy because this is our best starting position of the season so far. So I really want to take this opportunity, and because the team had done such an incredible effort to give me this incredible car. So I just want to do my best, and hopefully we'll be on the podium again today.
If you can share us a little bit of your strategy.
The strategy would be just to stay out of trouble, just do my own race, and just do every lap and push every lap. Yeah.
All right. Good luck and enjoy the race. Back to you.
Thank you, Amy. And certainly at Motegi we saw some fabulous form and some real fighting spirit from James Yu. And the car is fabulous. White livery, but covered with about 1,000 cartoon ducks on its flanks. So something a bit different. That's starting 5th on the grid. But success penalty is something that's important in this championship. If you win a race, in the next race your pit stop has an extra 15 seconds at a standstill. So that's the 37 Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes. That's starting 10th. So for them, with the extra 15 seconds, a podium is very unlikely. And that's for the outright championship leader. That's the number 37 car driven by Anthony Liu. He's the outright championship leader. So he's got a lot to ask. The car on pole position, Alessio Picariello, the 911 Porsche by AAS Motorsport, that's going to have an extra 10 seconds at a standstill. And the car starting 12th, the Team Go Ziegen Nissan GTR will have an extra 5 seconds, which will certainly shuffle the pack. But the current pole position, it'll be started by Alessio Picariello. We're going to hear from him. He is with Amy.
Alessio, super important race for you, and starting from this position, how do you feel?
Yes, I feel good. Always good to be on pole, and we have a good pace this weekend. So the goal is to take as many points as we can. We know winning will be hard with the 10 seconds success penalty, but the goal is to take as much points average on the 2 races to have a good position at the championship for the last round. So yeah, I will try my best, try to build a gap, but yeah, for sure it's not going to be easy.
Good luck and enjoy the race.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you, Amy, and good to hear from Alessio. So just to reiterate, starting from pole position, but the pit stop time when he comes in to hand over to Vutikon Interfuvasak will be an extra 10 seconds, like 10 lifetimes in racing terms, at a standstill. However, after yesterday's point shuffle, Alessio's a little further down. He missed one of the rounds, but Vutikon, his teammate, is third in the championship on 104 points. Leading it is Anthony Liu, but he's an extra 15 seconds in his pit stop. And third in the championship is Prince Abubakar Ibrahim, who's sharing this weekend with Michael Grenier. Finished 4th yesterday, so a good array of points. He's 4 points down on the championship lead, but he has no success penalty today. So the 88 Mercedes, there it is on the grid, down in 7th position. I think this has a good chance of a podium and a very good chance of going to the final round at Sepang as the championship leader. And Michael Grenier, one of the drivers, a works Mercedes driver, can be slotted in a GT3 race anywhere in the world. He's done a very good job as well. But all the drivers, after a bit of a sort out at the first corner yesterday at the tail end of the top 10, had a lot of cars scattering into the gravel. They know they have to be cool, calm, collected. And here's a driver who always is, starting from 3rd on the grid for Hub Auto Racing, the team from Taipei, Alvaro Parente, fantastic Portuguese driver, and it's great to see him up at the front. He has no success penalty. Literally, in the dying moments of yesterday's race, this car got pitched off. Jeffrey Lee started it, and Maxi Goetz didn't get to finish it. He's starting in 4th place. No success penalty for them, so that is a definite podium contender, but it's a long way. An hour with a pit stop in the middle, but as we saw yesterday, and as in previous races here at Okayama International Circuit, the first corner is such a tricky place to get it right. Go down the inside, you could run out of road. Go on the outside, as unfortunately yesterday the spirit of FFF Racing Lamborghini discovered you could be the person who is pitched off by someone else who's been hit by someone else, if you see what I mean. What you need to do is be near the front of the grid. The view there through the windscreen of the number 1 296 GT3, the only one in the championship, the only one of these brand new Ferraris, and that's Kei Cozzolino, who's starting on the outside of the 3rd row. No success penalty, but that was a car that came roaring up the order yesterday. And of course, we've got the added complication and confusion and mathematical delight of the Japan Cup as well. It's 8 races. We've had 7 of them across the 3.5 meetings we've had here in Japan. This is the final race in the Japan Cup today, and it's very, very tight at the top. It's looking as though it's going to go to Porsche Center Okazaki. They're sitting with a 22-point advantage, 25 points for a win. So really, it's win or nothing for D-Station Racing. Their Aston Martin is starting around the sort of 8th position on the grid. Tomonobu Fujii yesterday had a problem where it actually clicked its full course yellow limiter. It kicked back in and suddenly lost about 7 places. That's why it finished outside the top 10. But they were winners here last year, Satoshi Hoshino and Tomonobu Fujii. Can they do it again? And these success penalties really can have a big factor. Doesn't matter what order the cars come into the pits too much, but if you've got an extra 15 seconds at a standstill, as Anthony Liu's car, the championship leader's car, will have, then of course that's going to set you back. But let's see this fabulous array of cars on the front of the grid. We've got a Porsche first, a Ferrari second, a Porsche third, a Mercedes fourth, and so on down. The best of the Ferraris, that Car Guy Racing one, the outside of the 3rd row. You can see it on the right-hand side of the screen, that acid yellow livery. But for the fans in the grandstand, they're largely looking at one team, Mezawa Racing, the Oka Yokomitsu, outside of the front row in his Ferrari. This is the more modern car. This is the 296 GT3 from Car Guy Racing. And I'm sure we'll see more of those in 2024. And already I'm excited about the entry list for next year's championship, when we'll have 7 rounds, one more than this year. So a real special treat. And we'll be returning to China, to the Shanghai International Circuit. So the cars go round on their formation lap. The grid looks fantastic. We have 30 cars coming out to play. So let's run you down the grid order. It's Alessio Picariello on pole position alongside Naoki Okamitsu. That should be really exciting. Then Alvaro Parente on row 2 with Maxi Goertz. Third row, James Yu Kwai, and alongside Kei Cozzolino. Fourth row, we move back to Mikel Grenier, the championship second place car. Tomonobu Fujie, winner here last year. Frankie Chen Kong Fu, Danny Juncadella, the 37 car won yesterday. Matteo Caroli, very quick, 992, alongside Shintaro Karabata. Then Eduardo Liberati, we heard from him, and Seiji Ara share row number 7. Patrick Pile, look out for him in the number 4 Porsche. Richie Stanaway alongside. Then Earl Bamber, Le Mans winner, alongside Yuta Kamimura with the car that could wrap up the Japan Cup. Tsubasa Kondo, Brian Lee on row number 10. Row 11, Dennis Lin, look for the number 2 Mercedes coming forward with Mikkel Mack. Then Kang Ling, Morio Nitto, that's Audi versus Lexus. Then Shigekatsu Wakisaka, Yusuke Yamasaki, 2 Ferraris together on row 13. Mineki Okura in the sole Lamborghini, and Ben Porter alongside. The back row, Atsushi Tanaka from Run Up Motorsports, and Yi Bian, Climax Racing Mercedes. 10 rows of GT3 cars, a huge array of manufacturers, and right now, what are they doing? Getting the heats in their tyres. This is the King's back straight that runs from turn 6 to turn 7. This is a view from the leading AM runner, and that's the AM champion in the Japan Cup. They clinched it yesterday, and it's Yusuke Yamasaki riding the number 7 Ferrari down into that hairpin. Car Guy Racing further up the order will be starting the number 1 Ferrari from 6th position, and Maizawa Racing, they'll be starting the outside of the front row. They should be 2 by 2 when they come round turn 13, the final corner. The corner we're looking at now is turn 11, a very short run, then those 2 tight final corners. You can see the field bunching up. The Lexus safety car pulls to one side. Alessio Picariello on pole alongside one of last year's winners, Naoki Okamitsu. In behind, Alvaro Parente, he fancies his chances here. And Maxi Goertz, so much GT3 racing experience. Fabulous array of cars, 30 cars, just missing one, the 87 R&B Racing Porsche that got damaged yesterday. So, all eyes on the starting gantry, waiting for those lights to go from red to green. Who's going to get the better start? Oh, Frankie Chen Kong Fu jumping out of line, waiting for it. And now, with an hour to go, off we blast. It looks though Alessio Picariello's got the job done. Trying to go the outside route, maybe the brave route is Kei Cozzolino. Or somehow gets through in behind a couple of cars getting loose, but a great start from Alvaro Parente. Kei Cozzolino's up the inside of Alvaro Parente to go from 6th to 3rd position. Then you've got the fast S's where we had the problem yesterday. Side by side, Alvaro Parente holding on the inside. That must have been a big heart-in-mouth moment for Kei Cozzolino, but the Portuguese driver, that was very well driven by a pair of ultra-pro drivers there. Into turn 6 we go. Already starting to escape at the head of the race is Alessio Picariello. Behind the cars are 2 or 3 abreast. Now we're riding on board the 4th place Ferrari, trying its best to get past the yellow Porsche of Alvaro Parente beforehand. But what comes next? The hairpin. Those cars are separated by, what, an arm's length as they brake and get through the hairpin. Slightly banked on the exit, but going off onto the grass on the outside and losing position there. Kei Cozzolino went from 6th, almost into 3rd. Now he's back to 5th because Maxi Goertz has come through. And I tell you who's made a fabulous start. It's Mikel Grenier in the 88 Mercedes, and also the D-Station Racing Aston Martin tucked in behind him. And James Yu lost about 3 or 4 positions in that white number 11 Audi. But the first 2, they're getting clear. A real tussle for 3rd place, but it's great to see Alvaro Parente back up at the front of the field where he belongs. What fantastic racing in the treble 8 Mercedes, getting shoved wide on the exit of turn 11. Only a short dash from there to the penultimate corner, but very, very busy opening lap. We counted 30 cars away from the start. Will we get all 30 to the end of the opening lap? I think the answer is going to be yes. Turn to my left from the commentary position. I think we've only gone and got all the cars through. Now, an hour of racing. Just keep an eye on the progress of Tomonobu Fujii in the number 47 Aston Martin. He's all over the tail of Mikel Grenier. Of course, Grenier is fighting within the overall championship. So too is the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. That's going to be going to Sepang for the final round, but it's definitely in the reckoning. It's 2nd in the Japan Cup. We'll keep an eye on how that shakes out. So, first 2 cars separated by 3/4 of a second. They've got almost a second and a half back to 3rd place. 3rd place in the hands of Parente, but it's Picariello from Yokomizo. With the Japan Cup element within the overall grouping, there are so many story strands we're going to have to pick up over the course of this hour. But certainly Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim will be very, very pleased indeed. His car started in 7th, 1 place gained. Everyone just helps every single position you can pick up. Little bit of rear damage on the tail of the left rear side of Alvaro Parente's Porsche. I guess that must have been with side-by-side contact coming out of turn 7. last time around when it would have clattered against the Ferrari. Get a closer look. Those first two cars certainly escaping. Yeah, definitely a little bit of what the Americans call, there's been a bit of a fender bender. That shouldn't affect the Porsche too much, but in time, with the airstream hitting it, it might start to get peeled back, and that will need some attention if it starts to really damage the bodywork. But right now, oh dear, Frankie Chen Kung Fu, we saw him trying to make a positive start. He started from 9th position, and he is pitched off deep into the gravel. That's not a drive away. So Jingsu Sun may not get a go in the race today, and Frankie Chen came through in that number 13 Audi. Well, it was right at the end of the second lap, so he didn't complete lap 2, so we've lost one already. First two continue to escape. Alessio Picariello. Naoki Yokomizo is marginally closer. He's gained a 10th of a second. And in behind, Perrin, Gertz, Cozzolino, Grenier, Tomonobu Fuji, and James Yu. And then Eduardo Liberati, we heard from him on the grid. He's gained 4 positions. KCMG Honda. So Amy's worked her magic. She talks to people and they advance up the order. One person just keeping an eye on. Lost 1 position already. It's Craft Bamboo's Racing outright championship leader, Anthony Liu. He's gone from 10th down to 11th. Full course yellow. You could sense the cars were slowing, and with the number 13 Audi deep up to its axles, the Audi Sport Asia team absolute. One of my favourite cars because I think it's brilliant, dynamic, metallic blue livery is a sight to behold. I'd rather not see it stuck in a gravel trap, however. So full course yellow limiters are on. Radio messages from all the teams to all their drivers to heed all of that. Just look at the rear corner, left corner of the number 72 Hub Auto Racing Porsche. Definitely that contact. Maybe we'll have a replay at some point of that. Going out of the hairpin on the opening lap, turn 7, and side by side with Kei Cozzolino. Then there was the rub. Cozzolino's Ferrari being pushed over the curbs on the outside, and as a consequence has tumbled right down the order out of the top 10. So number 13 Audi, very good work by the little Kubota half track. Got it out of that gravel, so just need to clear that away to a place of safety. We can go racing again. Cozzolino, down in 5th place, had been challenging for 3rd. But Maxi Gertz in the pale blue Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes nipped back ahead of him. Of course, under full course yellow, nobody gains, nobody loses, so you have to all run at uniform speed. Well, maybe Jingsu Sun will get a race today, but his car has been delayed by a lap sitting in the gravel. Or was that 2 laps now? I think it's 2 laps actually. But now he's clear, just waiting for the rescue vehicles to be put back in a place of safety and hope that not too much gravel. Restart is probably right upon us. Look at the banner at the top of the screen. It's yellow. It says FCY under, and off it goes. It's up to the drivers to react. Looks as though Alvaro Perret was a little slow getting the hammer down, it's lost him 2 positions. Caught napping there, unfortunately, so fought hard for 3rd position, but Maxi Gertz in a flash, and thank you very much, Kei Cozzolino just jumping. So I don't know what was happening. Maybe the message didn't quite get through fast enough. Maybe Alvaro was a bit distracted. He'll be furious with what's happened there. Kei Cozzolino at the very corner on which he was pushed wide just before the full course yellow, tried his best and nearly got another clatter from a car alongside. This time it was Maxi Gertz. So Craft Bamboo Racing leading the championship with Anthony Liu, but right now their better placed car is the one that's just moved up into 3rd position. Still leading Picariello from Yokomizo. Now it's Gertz, it's Cozzolino. 2 places lost there by Alvaro Perret, so that'll be a little bit frustrating for him. Mikel Grenier in 6th, and behind the car that's lying 2nd in the Japan Cup, Tomonobu Fuji is running in 7th place. Just looking to spot where the car that's leading the Japan Cup is. It's the Porsche. Yuta Kamimura is driving in 22nd position. So maybe D-Station Racing had every right to be confident. A little further back, a little bit of overtaking going on there with the treble 8 Mercedes. There is the car that's leading the Japan Cup, and they need to finish 8th in the Japan Cup runners, of which I believe were at 11 in order to take the championship. All the D-Station Racing Aston Martin crew can do is make sure they win, and they're some way clear from the other runners in that. But right now, Yuta Kamimura is doing what he needs to do. He'd like to pick off a few more positions just to be sure he's safe. But we know the D-Station Racing advantage is very good here because it won the second of the races last year. First one was won by the Yibo Racing Ferrari, but this pair race all around the world in the fabulous D-Station Racing livery. And yesterday and today will be treated to the junior advantage running in the solo GT4 race. First to second, 0.8 of a second between them, in behind. Well, it's very hard to set a quick lap when you're in such traffic, so the first two gradually pulling clear. 2.8 seconds clear of Maxi Goetz in the blue Mercedes, Kay Cozzolino doing his best, and Alvaro Parent looking to atone but falling back all the time. Maybe there is a little bit more than just bodywork damage on the rear of the number 72 Hub Auto Porsche. So the first two going down towards the first corner, the 911 Porsche, Alessio Picariello, then Maezawa Racing Ferrari with Naoki Okamitsu. I actually sense the pace of the pack behind is picking up a little bit. Maxi Goetz trying to stretch the legs on the blue 85 Mercedes from Craft Bamboo Racing. Alvaro Parent, yeah, his pace has fallen away a little bit. Top three are all lapping in the 1 minute 30, so Maxi Goetz should be able to escape little by little from Kay Cozzolino. Now I'm starting to sense that Michael Grenier, there he is in the 88 Mercedes, from 888 JMR, has more pace than Alvaro Parent in the number 72 Porsche from Hub Auto Racing, but where to pass in such a narrow circuit? Right, let's ride with the number 7 Comet Racing Ferrari. And the leader in AM, it was the best place of the AM cars, and is running in 25th position, and right behind should be the Porsche. Well, there's a place change coming on, and Alvaro Parent's now his front corner damage. A little rub there from the 88 Mercedes. Michael Grenier coming through. I sense there was almost a shove from Tomonobu Fujii. So what I think happened is I don't think actually there's a little bit of damage both front corner and rear corner on the Porsche, but I actually think it was just a hero lap in qualifying to get there, and it may well be the setup still isn't quite optimal from Hub Auto Racing, but Alvaro Parent doing what he can do. Now he's got Eduardo Liberati catching up with the Aston Martin that's right behind, and then behind him James Yuquai. It's a real train of cars. Patrick Pilet tucked behind in the blue R&B Racing Porsche. It's a train of cars. It's sort of like Gilles Villeneuve in the Spanish Grand Prix all those many, many years ago, where he kept everyone behind him forever to take victory in what was by far from the fastest car. 1981, I think, so I think we'll consign that to the absolute annals of history. But right here today, the first two cars making good their escape, but it's interesting, intriguing how the order behind is chopping and changing. Poor Alvaro Parent, I think, is now a bit of a sitting duck, and now it's the turn of Tomonobu Fujii to say, I don't want to be delayed, I've got to get past. Can't do it at the point where the 88 made a move. Michael Grenier, or tried to move last lap, but then of course Grenier got the move done further around the lap, coming out of the hairpin at turn 7. That's obviously going to be in the mind of Michael Grenier, having made it through, and Tomonobu Fujii saying, can I copy? Here we go up the chicane, sorry, the hairpin, looking for the inside line, but as long as Alvaro Parent uses those years of experience to hold the inside line, he should be safe for a while at least. Now here's the AM battle coming down into the number 7 Ferrari, still holding on. Yusuke, but Ben Porter, who didn't get to race yesterday, unfortunately his teammate Andrew McPherson ended up off at the side of the circuit before Ben could get on board. Ben always very, very quick, so let's see what he can do. Mineki Akura tucked in behind him in the FFF Lamborghini, a car that was pitched out on the opening lap, or pitched off the circuit, lost a lot of time. But this AM battle, this is what it's all about. You've got 30 cars coming out to play, 20, all 30 still going, and you've got the class battles, always interesting. Oh, Mineki Akura just was caught a bit napping at turn 10 there, and the number 3 Mercedes has come through. So the AM lead still with the Comet Racing Ferrari, number 7, and in behind everybody else is having a bit of a play, because the number 3 Mercedes with Bianchi at the moment, he's just gained a position. And it's all 4 AM cars right together, so they will fight all the way up to the pit stops. The pit window not open until another 13 minutes from now, and hopefully all the way through to the end of the race. Yeah, Mineki Akura be a little bit cross there. He was trying to work out how to get past Ben Porter. While he was doing that, he himself was passed. What I'm sensing, the gap between first and second, between Alessio Picariello in the AAS Motorsport Porsche and yet Naoki Okamitsu in the Maezawa Racing Ferrari is just starting to creep out. In fact, it has, because last time around, the fastest lap of the race was set by our race leader. Yeah, we're talking thousands here. He did a 1 minute 30.553 second lap versus 1 minute 30.562 from Maezawa Racing and Naoki Okamitsu. Then you have to wait, and then the only other car that's really likely to run at their pace is Maxi Goetz in the background. He's 2.6 seconds down in 3rd place. just should be coming into shot behind the graphic. There's the Craft Bamboo Racing. He's got Kei Cozzolino, who wrapped up the championship here last year when it was the final round of Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, and today having a very, very good run. Yesterday was a fight up the order for the Car Guy Racing team, back with the 296 GT3, and today much closer to the front of the order. Now, looking at these top four cars, bear in mind the 911, the race leader, will have an extra 10 seconds at a standstill in the pit stop. Next time you see the lead, count back 10 seconds. That'll put other cars that are running behind him some distance in front. So it's a cross you have to bear for finishing in the top 3 positions in any race in the championship. But for now, all Alessio Picariello can do is build his lead. See if he can keep on stretching the margin, because every 10th of a second could be the difference between a place or two that will have to be made up after the pit stop. If you can just get out ahead of your rivals, then the job is done. 5th place, Mikel Grenier, the car that he shares with Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. He's got clear of Alvaro Parente, but the interesting thing for me is Tomonobu Fujii cannot catch the Portuguese driver in that 72 Hub Auto Racing Porsche. I thought he was quicker, was being held up, but maybe Alvaro's settled down all over again. Certainly the 88 Mercedes with the Canadian driver Grenier clear and away, and now doing his best to set off after those ahead, but the top 4 just have a little bit more pace at the moment. I'm also expecting James Yu to start making a move. He should be just behind Eduardo Liberati. So Alvaro Parente running in 6th place, 7th place the Aston Martin of Fuji, 8th place Liberati, the KCMG Honda, 9th place James Yu in the Absolute Audi, and 10th place Patrick Pilet. You look down the names, Pilet, Cairoli, Bamba, works Porsche drivers. It's phenomenal. Danny Juncadella, so many titles in GT3 racing. The reigning Intercontinental GT champion, not in the top 10. Quite extraordinary. The battle for AM honours has just flipped around. We've had a change of position because Ben Porter has now moved ahead of Yamasaki in the Comet Racing Ferrari, and now tucked in behind in 3rd place in that class is Yi Bian, who fancies his chances. So it's Porsche leading AM, Ferrari 2nd, Mercedes 3rd, Lamborghini 4th. This is GT3 racing as it should be. And right behind them, a lap down. We'll pass all of them, I would think, if you possibly can, be Frankie Cheng. But at the moment, leading GT3 AM, it's AMAC Motorsport. The Porsche that's been repaired overnight had rear end damage after going off early in the lap, but just before mid-distance yesterday. All looking good today, though. They've got clear track ahead of them. There's quite a gap back to Ben Porter. Mario Nitta in the Lexus, car number 96 from K-Tunes Racing, is the last in line ahead of them, but it's about 5 seconds clear. So this GT3 AM battle can enjoy itself, can do what it wants to do. It is being broken up by Frankie Chen Kongfu, making up ground, a full lap down. There's his bright blue Audi. Will be quicker than these cars. He's a pro, so he will pick them off, but he's got to choose his moment, not only just because he's quicker, but because they're fighting. You can't fight more than that battle there with the Comet Racing Ferrari. Getting very busy indeed. Yusuke Yamasaki. And while this is going on, while he's being pressed by the Climax Racing Mercedes, thank you very much, says Ben Porter. The pressure's off his tail and he's streaking clear in GT3 AM. All along, Frankie Cheng trying to unlap himself, and you've got to keep running, keep running. That's exactly what Alessio Picariello is now doing. 1.6 seconds clear. It's a 10th here. No 10th the next lap, 1 the following lap. So Mizawa Racing, Ryoki Okamizo still there or thereabouts. Fastest lap of the race just been set last time around by the bright yellow Ferrari in 4th place, Kei Cozzolino. He's tucked in behind Maxi Goertz, separated by 3/4 of a second. But that car, they moved back to running the 488 GT3, last year's car. Last time out, they're back in the 296. Lack of testing has hurt them, but they're really getting it. And I think for 2024, they're going to be flying at Car Guy Racing, because clearly the setup is really coming to them as they get to understand the new, meaner-looking, sleeker Ferrari. New for 2023, there will be more on the floor in 24. Riding on board with Kei Cozzolino, looking at the tail of Maxi Goertz's Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes, dropping down into turn 12. You can see what a tight line you need to take. The curb comes right up on you, kick of dust in your face. A lot of drivers go out and kiss the gravel on the exit of turn 13, the final corner. It's very narrow there, it really is. Better lap last time around from Naoki Yokomizo in second place. He's now just 1.25 seconds down. He gained half a second on the race leader. That's interesting. There was no traffic to obstruct them. But Yokomizo in the Meizawa Ferrari getting closer to Alessio Picariello. Just remember, Picariello's car will have an extra 10 seconds at a pit stop. To go 10 seconds back right now would take you down to just behind 6th place, which is where Alvaro Parent is at the moment. So he's got to keep pushing on. The Belgian racer Picariello has got to just keep finding those tenths of a second. Just looking at the lap pace, last time around, second was catching first, third was catching second, and fourth was catching third. So our top 4 cars are bunching up. They're 4.1 seconds at the start of the lap from first to fourth. It's less than that now. It's coming down. This is becoming very interesting. The next driver in line in 5th place is Michael Grenier, the car, the 88 Mercedes from 888 JMR. That's the car he shares with Prince Abu Bakar Ibrahim, who would love to go to the final round in Malaysia, home turf for him at Sepang as a championship leader. But the 88 car, no success penalty, was 4th yesterday, so it means its pit stop could be the minimum standard time, and that would be a big help. Certainly will give it a shot at the podium. But for now, Alessio Picariello, another lap on the board, but another lap in which he's been marginally pulled in, 1.229 seconds. Here comes Michael Grenier. Alvaro Parent, despite his mistake, we presume, that lost him third and pushed him back to 5th, then he was overtaken by the 88 Mercedes, but since then he's sort of stabilised his form and is holding on in 6th place. Just look how close it is, a blink of an eye, and another half dozen, maybe 8 cars go past over the start-finish line, down into turn 1. Right, a chance to see the GT3 AM battle. There it is, led by AMAC Motorsport, the Porsche with Ben Porter at the wheel, pulling clear, not of the number 13 Audi. That's a full lap down, having been stuck in the gravel for a while. But next in line behind Porter is the Comet Racing Ferrari. Tucked in under his tail is that number 3 Climax Racing Mercedes with Bian Yi, and then Mineki Akura trying to hang on in the number 19 Lamborghini. But I tell you what, when those drivers those cars have their driver changes, we will have Hiroshi Hamaguchi aboard the 19 Lamborghini. Could well end up being the class winner. Let's wait and see, because he absolutely flies. But right now, Alessio Picariello leading the race by 1.2 seconds. Meizawa Racing, Naoki Yokomizo, the treble 5 Ferrari, keeping him absolutely honest. 4.5 minutes until the pit window opens. These drivers, being the pro drivers in Pro-Am lineups, will stay out as long as they can. They could stay out for another 13 minutes and come in just before the pit window closes, when we have only 25 minutes remaining in this race. Looking there, the bright purple car, Patrick Pilet completing the top 10, Matteo Caroli tucked in behind in another of the Porsches. It seemed through practice the Porsches were the cars to have here, the cars that really suited the circuit. We've got one leading the race, but since then I think the other manufacturers have just, the teams running the other manufacturers' cars have just found their setup, got it a little bit sweeter. But right now Patrick Pilet working very hard indeed, R&B Racing, and he will be handing that over to Wei Lu in the second half of this race. And Earl Bamber just tucked in behind Cairoli, 10th, 11th and 12th. Purple, red and black, those Porsches running line astern. .992 Matteo Caroli not running in the slipstream, just there down the kink back straight. Taking a look around the outside, in fact there's a kink to driver's left and a kink to driver's right. You can see the grille on the nose of the treble 8 Mercedes has clearly had a clatter with something. There was a bit of a sort out just halfway around the first lap, and that got caught up in that, but you'll see some of the bars on the nose of that Mercedes have come away. They won't affect the performance, but you never know what else has happened when there's been a clatter. But right now the treble 8 pushing on with Richie Stanaway, working very hard indeed. First in the Silver Cup class, it's car number 29, one of the 2 Phantom Pro Racing Aquamarine Audis. That's the one that has the pink rear wing. The sister car has the yellow rear wing. And Ling Kang is leading the Silver Cup class. It's one of the slimmer classes in the championship, and he ought to be champion today because 87, the class rival, is the car that got damaged yesterday, the R&B Racing Porsche. So just got to finish the race, got to win the race today. That will be done for them, and that's the outright silver trophy across the entire season. So before they even go to Sepang, the championship should be his. So just tell a driver to go round, bring it in quietly to the finish, and hope they listen. So far, so good. But again, Okayama International Circuit, fabulous to drive, but very, very hard to find enough of a performance advantage to go around a rival. You almost need them to make a mistake or have a lapped car to pass. But in GT3 racing, in a 1 hour race, there aren't many lapped cars to pass. Perhaps a slower car might come out after a pit stop, and that will give you half a chance. But it's a tactical race, it's a game of chess. And one person who's not had the best game of chess is Anthony Liu, because the number 37 Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes, it started from, refresh my memory, 10th on the grid, lost a few positions on the opening lap, and will not be carrying points advantage going through to the final round. He'll be handing over to Danny Yukodea is driving this in the opening stint, I beg your pardon, James Liu in the second part of the race, but it's gone backwards rather than forwards today, and it's got 15 seconds extra at the pit stop, so Danny Yukodea can do no more at the moment. Good to see the Honda gaining positions in the race, 4 positions gained, and running very, very comfortably. Stuck behind the D-Station Racing Aston Martin, unlikely to be able to go any faster, but good to see it having a competitive run at the front. It's great to have a real spread of manufacturers, and certainly the KCM GT, they've run that race livery, the white, blue and black livery for years now in all sorts of sports car racing, in prototypes and even single-seaters as well, so they're staunch supporters of all forms of motor racing. That's Paul Ip's team from Hong Kong. Right behind him is James Yu, Patrick Pile, Matteo Caroli. There's Danny Yukodea running in a most unaccustomed position, down in 13th position overall. This is the car that just looked comfortable in the lead yesterday, and it came under real pressure after the pit stops when Danny took it over from Anthony Liu, and Alessio Picariello pushed and pushed and pushed, couldn't find a way past, and then it seemed the performance came to the Mercedes later in its stint, and Danny Yukodea able to pull away to win. But today it's a very different story, plus the 37 Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes will have to have 15 seconds extra at the pit stop, so the thought of a top 10 finish, however well Anthony Liu drives, is really pretty unlikely today. Up front, the gap between first and second, suddenly a couple of better laps for Alessio Picariello. He's now 2 seconds clear of Naoki Okamizo, and all the time closing in bit by bit is Maxi Goertz in 3rd place. Goertz is driving the sister car to this, Danny Yukodea's Craft Bamboo Racing Urshan. Yesterday's winner down in 13th position. The car that was down in about 15th and spun off right at the end is the 85 car, the sister car that Maxi Goertz is driving so well. A tale of 2 days. Now the grid, as many modern motor racing grids, was jiggled through qualifying yesterday morning by cars exceeding track limits. We heard from Eduardo Liberati, there he is in the number 22 Honda. He qualified 3rd, but lost his best times to track limit excess, so he started 8th. It really hurts. Right, first pit stoppers, the team Go Ziegen Nissan, car that finished 2nd at Suzuka and 3rd yesterday, but they've decided they'll do their pit stop early. Maybe they're satisfied their driver lineup is fairly equal. Also, the pits are quite empty. Also in the pits, the number 7 Comet Racing Ferrari that wrapped up the Japan Cup AM class yesterday, and the number 19 FFFF Racing Lamborghini. Mineki Akura has brought that in as early as possible because he knows that Hiroshi Hamaguchi is very, very quick indeed to do the second leg. Give him the longest second leg you possibly can. Now looking to do the longest first leg he possibly can is our race leader, and in fact almost all the pro runners in the Pro-Am pairings at the front of the field. They will go as long as they can get their cars into the pits before we get to 25 minutes left. All will be fine. Now let's look the race vision powered by AWS. Average speed, well of course the average speed is fastest and highest for our race leader, 141.44 kph so far. So there we have it, there are our top 4. They really have closed up, but the last few laps, Naoki Okamizo's just fallen back a little bit. There's the Comet Racing Ferrari, already the Japan Cup GT3 AM champions. They've effected their driver change as early as they possibly could. But the front runners, top 4 cars, covered by 4.2 seconds, still pressing on. And these last few laps have been very good. It was 1.6 seconds. Suddenly it was 2.1 seconds, the gap between first and second. Now it's 2.4. This is where Alessio Picariello is absolutely earning his corn. He will be at a standstill. His car, an extra 10 seconds at the pit stop. None of those 3 cars behind him will have to serve any success penalties in the pits. They should be able to do their pit stops and come out ahead. How far ahead and how many cars between this grouping is all dependent on really how many seconds or fractions of a second Alessio Picariello can gain right now. Just waiting for timing screens to pick up on the gap back to Grenier and Perret. Okay, now 10 seconds. He should come out just ahead of the 88 Mercedes, so we could get the AAS Motorsport into the pits from the lead and coming out in 4th. That might sound like a disaster, but it would have gobbled up the 10 seconds. It's so hard to make up that extra time. It's going to be very, very tight indeed. Another couple of good laps from Miko Grenier. And let's take a look. Last time, no, every lap Grenier is marginally slower, so the next couple of laps from Picariello could buy him just enough of a margin to get in, have the car into the hands of Fujikon into Fuvasak, and come out ahead of the car we're looking at now coming into turn 7, which is the 88 888 JMR Mercedes, which will be taken over from Mikael Grenier by Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. And then we'll have to see what one of the 2 racing princes, Johor, could do in the final leg of the race. They'll be very, very close together. It'll be Fujikon into Fuvasak against the, hugely inexperienced, only 2nd full season of racing for Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, but he really has been going from strength to strength. But on form and experience, if the AAS Motorsport Porsche can get out ahead of the 88 Mercedes from 888 JMR, Fujikon into Fuvasak will take over this race leading car, should have enough pace in his pocket to just pull clear in that battle at least. And they're fighting over in second and third positions in the overall championship, the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia Championship, going to the final round. And in fact they could be fighting over first and second, because the car that's ahead of them now on points, the car shared by Anthony Liu, and this weekend Danny Junkadea, is not in the points reckoning at the moment. It's down in 13th position with an extra 15 seconds to serve, so I think we can discount that. So really we're talking about after the pit stops we should have almost nose to tail. The 2 cars are going to fight out to see which of their pairings will be leading when we go to the final round of the overall championship in Malaysia next month. Certain cars starting to get warning for exceeding track limits. In fact, it's the car leading and heading for victory surely in the GT3 Silver Cup, which is the number 29 Phantom Pro Racing Audi. Just got a warning. You get enough warnings and then you get in trouble. Riding on board Kei Cozzolino, his time in this new 296 Ferrari coming pretty much to an end. But look, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, Misawa Racing, Naoki Okamizo, his performance has really tumbled away the last few laps. And that is why the race leader is now 3.5 seconds clear. Just remember, about 5 laps ago it was only 1.5, 1.6 seconds. But of course, Yokomizo, his attention is now entirely focused on his rear view mirror. The AAS Motorsport pulling clear. He would have gained even more tenths, but the Ferrari still holding on to 2nd place for Misawa Racing. Pit window still open, that's an important factor. I think next time around these cars will come in. They may just be able to squeak this lap and one more. All you have to do is get into the pit entry line, the white line, after which you should be at the pit lane speed limit. Get into pit in before we've got 25 minutes left on the clock and you'll be okay. Fastest lap of the race still in the hands of the number 1 Ferrari. There it is, the Car Guy Racing 296 GT3. Best lap so far, 1 minute 30.382 seconds. Right, pit stop time for Absolute Racing Porsches. Matteo Caroni with the M on the side of his helmet out of the car. Fresh set of Pirelli P0 slick racing rubber loaded on all around. Of course, these pit stops, they have a minimum pit stop time, and those that have success penalty have the minimum pit stop time plus 5, 10 or 15 extra painful seconds to be at a standstill. It's always a strange moment for a driver. Their race has been run, has been done. They have to go cool down, calm down, and hope their teammates can pick up the pace and get them going all over again. Now of the front runners come in, the D Station Racing, Aston Martin has popped in, and this time around with what's left on the clock, 2 minutes and 15 seconds by the time he crosses the line. AAS Motorsport come into pit stop. The race lead now goes to Misawa Racing, and also from third place, Maxi Gertz will be coming into the pit lane behind Kei Cozzolino likewise. No, in fact, Maxi Gertz continued. It was Cozzolino who ducked out from 4th place. So first and fourth came in to make a pit stop. Cozzolino's car will come out sooner because that one has no success penalty to serve. So this will feel like being stuck in treacle for Futigorn into Fubusak. He just knows he's going to have to sit there, and cars have been in the wake of Alessio Picariello will be going out ahead of him. Got to keep a cool head though. Should be able to slot out just back into 4th place. So Misawa Racing lead by just under half a second. That's the treble 5 Ferrari, Naoki Mizo. Maxi Gertz in 2nd place, Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes. He's then got 5.6 seconds back to Michael Grenier, who's staying out as long as he possibly can in that number 88 Mercedes. Car that's still, for the moment, leading the Japan Cup. The bright orange Porsche Center Okazaki, number 18, comes into its pit stop, so that'll be handed over from Yuta Kamimura back into the hands of Hiroaki Nagai. What we have in this championship, if you start race 1, you go 2nd in race 2. And today, the driver 2 is normally the pros, so they were the ones that started today. Just look how close Maxi Gertz is to the tail of Misawa Racing's Naoki Komizo. They're going to just squeak in with about 30 seconds in hand. They've left it as late as they possibly can. Did anybody else? Michael Grenier came out here. So these two just waiting to cross the line into the pits. They've got 30 seconds or so in hand. So don't worry, the next group of cars, 2, 3, 4 more coming in behind, will basically complete the running for those that get in. Just keep an eye out. Black and white warning flag has been shown to the treble 8 Mercedes. That was started by Richie Stanaway. So again, teams can accrue points, but it's just a case of how long these pit stops will have taken, with those the success penalty affecting 3 cars. The number 37 Mercedes from Craft Bamboo Racing, Danny Juncadea brought it in to hand over to Anthony Liu. That will be 15 seconds. Feels like 15 days extra at a standstill. 10 seconds extra at the pit stop for Alessio Picariello, handing over the 911 to Futigorn into Fubusak, and 5 seconds extra in pit stop. It was served very early by Shintaro Kawabata for Team Go Ziegen. That Nissan somewhat further down the field. Right, aboard the 911, the car that led the first part of the race by around 4 seconds after a really strong opening stint from Alessio Picariello. Now in the hands of Futigorn into Fubusak. It's when these cars come back on the track. Oh dear, the LM Corsa Ferrari has gone for a spin, sitting in the track, luckily starting to go somewhere. So that's the exit of corner 2, turn 2. Bit of a blind spot. Luckily the drivers would largely be going around the outside, but the real question is how hard, how fast could Futigorn into Fubusak produce on his first flying lap. He's coming out behind 1, 2, 3. If the 88 Mercedes comes out ahead, which it has by some margin, and the 72 Porsche, I thought there was enough speed in hand for Futigorn into Fubusak, including that 10-second penalty, to come out just ahead of them. I was wrong, for which I apologise, but the order will be all crystal clear. But Misawa Racing came in from 2nd. 85 Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes was tucked in behind. They're still in that order coming out of the pits. They're now 1st and 2nd in this race. And the 88 Mercedes, this is critical. Prince Abu Bakar Ibrahim should be the next car into the scene. There it is, over the crest. And then in 4th place behind. It looks like he's managed, Futigorn into Fubusak has managed to get ahead of the Hub Auto Racing Porsche. That was important. I thought he was going to come out ahead anyhow. Maurice Chen has taken it over, and maybe was a little slow getting up to speed. And so instant action. Talk about action. Is the second of the Fanatec Pro Racing Audis, and Chris Onchia, not long in the car, has gone for a rotation. You can see the rear wing has been pushed up, is damaged, and is sitting facing the wrong way. Ah, dearie me, let's hope that doesn't interrupt the racing action too much. Now you can really see how Prince Abu Bakar Ibrahim is the hunted, and the hunter is definitely Futigorn into Fubusak. This is the battle for 3rd place. This is the battle between two drivers who should be first and second heading to Sepang for the final round of Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia. The question is in which order. I don't think at the moment Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim will have the pace to challenge the Ferrari that's leading for Misawa Racing. Jeffrey Lee pressing on in the Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes. Let's see what he can do. But we've got, what, 22 minutes remaining in this race. It could still be won by Vutagon through Fuvasak, but he's got to get up with the 8-8 Mercedes, get past it and set off after those cars up the road. But the first two cars in some ways a little bit of a distraction. I mean, this would be a fantastic run for Jeffrey Lee if he can turn this into a victory. He's certainly not letting PT Biron-Bakti get too far away in the Misawa Ferrari, but it's so fitting. Misawa Racing is leading. They've got a huge contingent of friends, families and supporters here, a lot of VIPs here. They were packing the grid, the pits yesterday in the grid walk. And all four of those cars, the supercars, the two Bugattis, the Ferrari and the Pagani we saw at the front of the grid doing some laps early on, they all come from the Misawa Racing stable. Ooh, now a little bit of action in the background. Maurice Chen, the 72 Hub Auto Porsche, holding the middle track, trying to keep Takeshi Kimura behind him. You can still see the rear corner damage the Porsche, but look, it's a matter of time, and I think the time is now. Yeah, he's not going to surely try and defend too much more, because clearly Takeshi Kimura is faster than the number one Ferrari, but, well, push, shove, or don't push or shove actually, but just keep the pressure on. Maybe a good exit from turn 13 will lead to a slipstream down the start-finish straight. And let's see, here comes Takeshi Kimura. Maurice Chen is not going to fight him too hard, and also looking to come through, probably going to come through down the inside. No, waved yellow flags, the cars all back off. That's because of the Phantom Pro Racing Audi just facing the wrong way around the corner, so everyone has to slow right down. Right, here we are, full course yellow. Everybody has to run at the same pace. They press a button, the limiter comes in. So nobody's gaining, nobody's losing. Right, we've still got 20 minutes remaining in the race. Vutagon through Fuvasak is in third place behind the person, if they finish as they are now, will be the championship leader going to the final round, Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. They are respectively 5.2 and 4.4 seconds down on Piti Biron-Bakti, who's leading this race. So let's see, and don't forget they would all carry success penalties through to the final round, which is, as I said, 15, 10 and 5 seconds extra at the pit stops for the drivers who finish in the top three positions. But right now, I really fancy Vutagon through Fuvasak for an outright podium here. I want to see what sort of pace Jeffrey Lee can manage to maintain in the 85 Craft Bamboo Mercedes. So many little factors here. Piti Biron-Bakti, well, he's sitting in the lead of the race. Can he go on to take victory? Who else from behind can make a charge? Takeshi Kimura, but he's 6 seconds down behind Vutagon through Fuvasak. And the longer we have this full course yellow period, the less chance he has to try and do good and make his way to the front. Jeffrey Lee and Maxi Goetz, of course, did take a podium position in the opening rounds. That was back the second of the races at Buriram in Thailand. They took a second place. But talking of Craft Bamboo Racing and the 85 Mercedes, as if by magic, Amy Ozawa has got down to talk to the crew, to Maxi Goetz.
Great job on track. You pushed your soul out, I guess.
Yeah, so I was really pushing hard, as you said. I was following the Ferrari. He was a bit slower in the end, so I could catch up, I could close the gap, but overtaken is something different here on this track, so it's really hard to overtake. But I could have been faster. In the end, was a nice race. We gained one position. I mean, Alvaro was sleeping a bit on the full course yellow ending zone, so he was a bit late on power. So we, both of us, the yellow Ferrari, the car guy and me, overtook them. So in the end, we gained one position, which is nice, and I took over to Jeffrey on P3. So hopefully he will bring it back nicely and safe today, because I think we deserved this podium.
You definitely do. Hopefully see you at the podium.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thank you.
So Maxi Goetz, so much experience in Mercedes, and he's quite right. And of all the places you don't want to save a full course yellow period to end is when you're going uphill through turn 6. If you're a fraction late on the power, it's far worse than if you were just on the level. Alvaro Perez must have thought it was a month before the power came up, and he suddenly went from 3rd to 5th. And Maxi Goetz, well, polite as ever, would have said thank you very much. I will take the place games, and as he said, handed over in 3rd position. Andrew Harrianto, car number 11, running in 8th position, is looking quite interested, and he gets right up on the tail of Wei Lu, the bright purple Porsche in front of him, and they all know they might have a little bit more pace than Maurice Chen does have in the number 72 Porsche. Now let's see, when the full course yellow period is released, already the 72 Porsche's made a mistake, but that was with the starting driver. But I sense any of the three cars behind are looking to get past Maurice Chen in the Hub Auto Racing Porsche. They're getting quite close to the point where it all went slightly wrong for Alvaro Perret, who was just in this corner where he didn't get the power down. Luckily for them, full course yellow period still extant, still here, still happening. Sitting just in behind Satoshi Hoshino, maybe thinking, hold on, you know, might be doing the maths, how am I doing in the Japan Cup at the moment? But these are elements that they all have to consider. So as it stands, Porsche's enter Okazaki, the number 18 Porsche is down in 18th position. You might think it's a disaster, but now having a look at a replay, look in the background, look, cars coming down to the first corner, the Ferrari pulls out, we can't see any yellow flags, which is a question. Maurice Chen, the cars suddenly slow when they come down here. Then I think, well, just looking at that, it was interesting to call up that replay because there was a question, had Takeshi Kimura got past Maurice Chen under a waved yellow flag? We think it was just after, so there we are, all small margins. And certainly the car guy racing Ferrari, it looks fabulous standing still, but Takeshi Kimura and Kei Cozzolino make it look great all round when it's up to full speed. So full course yellow still hanging over these drivers, all running at this limited speed, waiting, and for some of the drivers at the front of the field, they'd be thinking, look, I need to get up on the podium, I need to get those extra championship points. Right, while there's a slight lull, Porsche's enter Okazaki, I'm talking about the Japan Cup here, it's going to be decided in the race today, came in to this event with a not this event, well, look at the restart, and again, the Hub Auto Racing, maybe they're slow sending their messages, but there was no second invitation, and Andrew Harrianto, bang, and the number 4 Porsche with Wei Lu straight past him. And likewise, Vucegorn through Fuvasak has got a sniff of third place, but Prince Abubakar Ibrahim holding on for now, but then taking a wide line in, has lost the position through turns 3 and 4. Thank you very much. Fourth has become third for the 911 Porsche. Oh, taking a look up the inside, realising there wasn't enough of an inside. Well, he did a good job to get the braking done there. There could have been a clatter between those two cars. The tail of the Porsche would have been pitched round. Right, the Comet Racing Ferrari is in the mix there, but only because it's a lap down. Let's hope it doesn't interrupt these two battles. The battle between Piti Biron-Bankti and the Meizawa Ferrari and Jeffrey Lee for the lead of the race, and more importantly, Vucegorn into Fuvasak and Prince Abubakar Ibrahim in that battle for third place. They should be able to get past. Takeshi Kimura in 5th, Andrew Harrianto 6th, Wei Lu in 7th, and the D-Station Racing Aston Martin, there it is. Bright green flashes on it, car number 47. This is the challenger in the Japan Cup. We think Porsche's enter Okazaki, car number 18, some distance and about 10 places further back, is on course to win the title. Because the 47 needs to win its class in the Japan Cup, and it's not on course to do that at the moment. Pushing on, it looked quite promising, its attack in the early stages of the race, but right now, not so good, because Kei Cozzolino's car, now in hands of Takeshi Kimura, is going to be taking maximum points in the Japan Cup this afternoon, and that will really scupper the chances of D-Station Racing. Oh, battle for second place is getting very, very close indeed, because Jeffrey Lee has been caught by Vucegorn Fuvasak and Prince Abubakar Ibrahim. But let's go down to the pits, because Michael Grenier got out of the number 88 Mercedes. That's now in 4th place. Let's go and find out with Amy.
Michael, great job on track. You came back P3, I guess. How was it? You look quite, cooked out.
Yeah, it's super warm. There's not a lot of air. It's super humid, but I think it was good. The goal again was to survive, keep the car in one piece for the Prince, and yeah, I think now we're P4. I think he just lost the place, but we just need to score points and be in the game for Sepang. We seem to be missing maybe 1 or 2 tenths a lap, but we will figure it out for Sepang.
It would mean a lot for Prince Abubakar to, go back to his home country with being a champion leader.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe if it stays this order, maybe we go second with the Porsche in front, or maybe we go back to the lead, I'm not sure, as the 37 Kraft Bamboo is behind. That's the most important, to be honest, for the moment. he's doing a very good job now. We just have to score points.
Let's cross our fingers till the end.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy, and Michael Grenier there. And again, so often happens during an interview. Suddenly, the car that's being talked about gets right in the heat of the battle. Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim got super close to the tail of Vutagon into Fufusak's Porsche, which is slightly being held up by Jeffrey Lee. Jeffrey has every right to be there, and all along as that's happening, Piti Birabakhti is edging clear. He's now 4 seconds to good. As long as Jeffrey Lee holds down second place, he'll be slowing the cars behind by a 10th or 2 per lap, so that should make it more and more comfortable. We've only got 12 minutes left in this 1 hour race, just 1/5 of the race remaining. For Mezawa Racing, with their legions of fans here at the Okayama International Circuit, it will be a very popular win. Certainly starting from the outside, the front row was good. The reason the Comet Racing Ferrari, you can see it with the blue flash up its nose, is in front of them, is it's had a second pit stop, so it's lost a great deal of position in this race. Once they catch it, they should get past easily, but it's another potential trip up. Right now they've got the number 360 Nissan in front of them, and that could also be tricky to pass. Entered by Run Up Sports, run by Tomai, and it's Masaki Nishikawa at the wheel of that at the moment. But they get past very easily, so congratulations and thank you very much for those great manners to Nishikawa. He did not make it difficult at all, and in fact one of the harder parts of the track to pull to one side. That's between turns 9 and 10, short uphill straight, but got out of the way very tidily. Oh, Futicorn in through Fufusaki, starting to use the curbs at turn 12. Suddenly the corner really tightened on the driver in 4th place, Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. If he's going in a drift contest, he'd have got a few points of that. The tail came right out on the 88 Mercedes. Jeffrey Lee, though, being very neat, very tidy. He's offering half an inside line, but you need a full-size one to put a Porsche through. Futicorn into the Fufusak, had to back off, and as they do this, they're losing little fractions, and that is why our race leader, Mezawa Racing, 5.5 seconds to the good now for Piti Birabakhti. Mercedes Porsche sandwich. It's going to come at turn 6, I feel, at some stage, but Jeffrey Lee wise to the antics of Futicorn into the Fufusak. And look what's coming behind. Takeshi Kimura, the car guy racing Ferrari. The car been in the hands of his teammate Keiko Zolino, set the fastest lap of the race, and he's going to be in a quadruple tow next time around. Jeffrey Lee covers the inside line. It's such a narrow hairpin at turn 7. And very close, Prince Abu Bakr to the tail of Futicorn in through Fufusak. And look, in this time around, already, the pace of the Ferrari is fabulous, but I do feel Jeffrey Lee is doing exactly what he's entitled to do to try and hang on to second position. But very busy in behind. There aren't very long circuits. There's the back straight, both straights on this circuit. The back straight is relatively short, the main straight is relatively short, so getting a slipstream isn't as advantageous at places with longer straights in their lap, but certainly anybody in the back of a quadruple toe should really get a good pull along the straight. And in behind, Andrew Harriento, the number 11 Audi, getting into this battle as well, and in behind him he's got the bright purple Porsche, and in behind that the D-Station Racing Aston Martin. So we could have, what will that be? It'd be a 7-car train, or 6 cars behind Jeffrey Lee. While it was last time around, at this point on the circuit, there was a 5.5 second advantage to the race-leading Ferrari from Mezawa Racing. It's now 6.9. It's gift upon gift for Piti Birabakhti. How much pressure can Futicorn into Fufusak apply to Jeffrey Lee? LM Corsa Ferrari, of course, has lost a bit of ground by having its little rotation. That could be a factor. Where they find it on the lap, how they get past. And for Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, he did not want to be challenged by the car guy racing Ferrari, but definitely on home ground. Takeshi Kimura is desirous of having someone to attack. And the LM Corsa Ferrari literally came to a stop to keep out of the way. That was Kei Nakanishi over and above the call of duty. Up the inside into turn 10, and he's going to have to keep it there. There will be rubbing, I am sure. And the Takeshi Kimura's hit the tail of the 88 Mercedes, pushing it once, twice. Which is the more robust? You feel the AMG? Well, there was a third hit there. I think Andrew Harriento may have hit the pair of them while they were off balance. May have been caught out. They were both slowed there, and suddenly the cars that were running in, what are we talking, 5th, 6th and 7th positions have all rotated. Car guy racing is stuck between the barriers and the 88 Mercedes, and for Vucegorn in for Fuvasak, who was ahead of that. If he stays where he is, he will go to the final round of the championship with the championship lead. Let's hope Prince Abubakar Ibrahim, who's driven so well this season, can get back going and pick up some points at least for his challenge. And it does mean that suddenly car 37 has now moved ahead of them. The Craft Bamboo racing car, they have got going again. So a race that had turned from victory yesterday for Anthony Liu and Danny Junkadea looks like it was going nowhere today. And with that clash going between turns 10 and 11, suddenly he's in the picture. But how long with the bodywork rubbing from the rear contact of a car that was hit rather than hit anything else? Prince Abubakar Ibrahim, clearly the rear bodywork rubbing on that right rear tyre. Will that go pop before the end of the race? It's something that at all is whether there is loading on the car, and it's loading right now, going around a left-hander. The right-hander shouldn't be so bad for him. Oh, this is high drama indeed for the driver who looks on course to be going to his home race with just a small points deficit, and now he's going to be lucky to get to the end of this race. Doesn't want to dive into the pits because that will cost any points at all. But the 88 car has tumbled down to 19th place overall with that contact, and I really feel that was the injured aggrieved party in that, given a push once, possibly twice through turn 10. By the time they went between 10 and 11, it may be that both of them had further contact from behind, because certainly the number 11 Audi, Andrew Haryanto at the wheel, ended up off the track with them, but I'd need to see a replay before I could put any colour onto that one. Jeffrey Lee has now got Wei Lu all over his tail. The train of cars really broken up by that bunching. Hey, so let's go. We've just got 5 3/4 minutes remaining in this race. And another place change coming up. Wei Lu diving up the inside of Jeffrey Lee, side by side around the corner. Jeffrey Lee should have more acceleration out of the hairpin. Small margins, but it's great to give it a try. Vucegorn in through Fuvasak with all that delay behind Jeffrey Lee's cars. There's no chance he can catch the race leader. Piti Bhirombhakdi 7.5 seconds clear. And of course, one thing that's happened in all of that is the car that was leading the Japan Cup, going for the maximum score in this race, has suddenly out of the running. Does that put D-Station Racing? I need to do some maths. 88 has come in. Well, they pretty much had to. That bodywork will have to be pulled off and a spare tyre put on. In fact, can't see. I thought there'd be a great big groove in that, but oh, such pain. Prince Abubakar Ibrahim was enjoying his race, having a great run there, but the rear contact, the bodywork pushed onto tyre, any hope of points out of the window. And meanwhile, the second of the Craft Bamboo Racing cars, the car number 37, yesterday's winners, is now up into the points. So suddenly, where it looked like they were going home with nothing in the basket, today they can. Good run from Wei Lu up into third place. Jeffrey Lee, the Craft Bamboo 85 Mercedes, back into fourth. The D-Station Racing Aston Martin now up into fifth place and heading for maximum points haul, which is what it needed to challenge in the Japan Cup. But the question is, 8th place in class is what was needed by the number 18 Porsche. It's up to 14th overall. That should just squeak home, I think, in the Japan Cup class. But what a twist in the tail. So this is the battle for attempt to get into third place. Now, it's what happens between the yellow Ferrari pushing the tail of the 88 Mercedes. Oh, then up the inside of one, and clipping the other goes Andrew Haryanto. Half a chance opened up for the Audi driver there. There were several roles being played here. The Ferrari touching the inside of the rear of the Mercedes, spinning it around, then the Audi hitting it from a different angle, far harder, spinning it round as well. The Audi got going sooner and is running around down in 21st position. Took a long time to get those cars back onto the circuit. 3.5 minutes remain, out clear by a country mile, 7.5 seconds to good. It could be a cruise now for Piti Bhirombhakdi, the driver from Thailand. He was pretty excited on the grid, and now it looks as though it's coming his way very nicely. Thank you very much. How a race can change. It's always going to be tight here at Okayama International Circuit because there are a few chances to overtake. But when the field got bunched, when a few back markers were there, and I must say they really did a fabulous job where possible of keeping out of the way. Exemplary escaping action there from Kei Nakanishi, the LM Course, the Ferrari driver, just got out of the way, almost stopped his car to let the battle for third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth, and seventh. It was that 7-car train to let them through. Vucegorn in for Fuvasak just cleared that battle. He got through. Wei Lu has suddenly risen for R&B Racing. They started outside the top 10, started down in 15th position with Patrick Pilet, but ever more progress being made, so a podium has come really from nowhere from them. Second place from Vuitton into Fuvasak will give him 18 points, which will push him on to in the overall Fanatec GT Asia points challenge. That will take him on to 122. There'll be no points for Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim, but he'll stay on 107. And the big question is, how many points will they get? 4 points for 7th place. Will go, sorry, 6 points for 7th place will go to Anthony Liu. So he will stay in the reckoning. He'll go to 117. So yeah, points advantage for Vuitton into Fuvasak. But in the AM class, of course, it was led early on by Comet Racing. AMAC Motorsport got into the lead of the class, but it's now Hiroshi Hamaguchi. I said, get him in the car as soon as you possibly can. He's the quickest driver, I would suggest, in AM. He's moved to the lead of the class. Second in class now is the number 3 Mercedes. It was running 3rd or 4th position. Now Yuki Hu is at the wheel of that. Third in class is Sujiko, the Comet Racing Ferrari. So Andrew McPherson has lost a little bit of time back there. Sujiko's just moved ahead. Still happening. There's the Silver Cup class leader in the background. Fastest lap of the race set during the first stint of the race by Kei Cozzolino. That hasn't been challenged in the second half, and now it looks as crowded at this point in the race with just over a minute to go as it almost was on the opening lap of the race. But the driver in the pack of the cars we're seeing is probably quickest of that pack is the driver at the back of the pack, so maybe there'll be one more overtaking manoeuvre from the driver leading the AM class. That's Hiroshi Hamaguchi. He's behind Brian Lee. He's down in 19th place. It matters not, but he will take the points in the class. Now, an incident involving car number 47 and 85. That's the D-Station Racing Aston Martin and the 85 Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes under investigation. A drive-through penalty for car number 3, which had just moved up to second place in the GT AM class for causing a collision. There we are. Plenty for the race officials to consider, but nothing really to be considered by Piti Bhirombhakdi because he's sitting on a lead of, well, it was 7.5 seconds. He's backed off a little bit. He's been chased by Vuitton into Fuvasak, but down he comes. Drive-through penalty now served, or not being served, issued to car 47, so any hopes they just moved into a chance to maybe win the Japan Cup. That's been snatched away. And looking, one more lap to go, squeaking through goes Piti Bhirombhakdi, 3.8 seconds to the good. That was very, very close indeed to just getting the checkered flag out in time. So drama, drama, drama. It looks as though the number 37 Mercedes has possibly gained another position. Yes, he's moved ahead. He's up to 4th place. Oh, this has really suddenly fallen into the lap of Anthony Liu, this race. The collision has gained, and then he's driven superbly in the second half of the race. Paul Ip is heading for a fabulous result for KCMG with their Honda up into 5th. Matteo Caroli, the 992 Porsche, was nowhere. That is up into 6th position. How this game has changed. Porsche Centre Okazaki, here they are, car number 18, the car that was challenging them, that had done enough, I think, mathematically, to squeak by the 47 Aston Martin, or be very, very close indeed. The matter was settled. Drive-through penalties cost them. It's over and out for them. Not over and out for Porsche Centre Okazaki. They will take the Japan Cup, but the outright win today will go to Naoki Okamizo. He's no stranger to the winner's circle. But Piti Bhirombhakdi, this will be a fabulous, fabulous run for him. 2 corners to go. But don't forget, yesterday's GT4 race, we had one of the runners, the class leader, the race leader, run out of fuel and have to trickle down and then push the car along the start-finish straight. Cruel, cruel, cruel. But today, Mizawa Racing, they can afford the fuel. They've got enough in. And there is the checkered flag for Piti Bhirombhakdi. And look how Vuitton into Fuvasak closed in the background. Weilu in the purple Porsche will come home in 3rd position. But Mizawa Racing, they like it an awful lot. So Piti Bhirombhakdi had a little clash at the first corner yesterday. That was yesterday. Today, it's victory for him and for Naoki Okamizo. Oh, what a race. And now draw in the breath and do a little bit maths to work out who has won the various Japan Cup classes. We knew the GT3 AM class was settled yesterday, but it's very, very busy out there today. So much to pick through. Oh, front the bonnets, there might have been a clash on the final lap because the bonnet section on the Lamborghini from FFF is missing. There is liquid flowing out of the front of that. He'll get it to the finish of the race, but not quite how it should be. So even at the close, the final few minutes have been quite extraordinary, and Andrew Harrianto getting very close. The white Audi flashing up the inside. We're fighting for minor positions, and a lot of the drivers, it's a case of what could have been. And Hiroshi Hamaguchi just comes home to take the GT3 AM class by not a great deal at all. So damage on the final lap. But congratulations to Misawa Racing. There they are, the treble 5, the dark green Ferrari. A lot of fans here to watch that. Victory in the end by 2.5 seconds. That is all. So Piti Bhirombhakdi, 3 corners to go to come in, drive down the pit lane and park under the Fanatec GT winner's arch. Futakon Intra-Fuvasak will go to the final round as the championship leader with that 2nd place. And Weilu, again, a really strong end to the season for him. But congratulations to Misawa Racing. What a result for them on home ground, and what a race of high drama. Quite extraordinary. It's some brilliant compacted groups of racing, and never ever give up, because the number 37 Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes was not heading for points. They've grabbed the points for 4th place when it looked as though they were going home empty-handed, and they're championship challengers. They came to today's race as the outright championship leader. They should go to the next race in 2nd place, but they could have been down in 3rd and way behind. And cruel luck for Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim. Don't think it was his fault. Picked up a puncture with 2 bits of contact. But there, the moment belongs to Misawa Racing, and Mr. Misawa very, very happy indeed. And there again, it's a Ferrari today. Not 3 different mates in the top 3 positions. We've got 2. But Naoki Yokomitsu in position, and Piti Bhirombhakdi clambering out under the arch. And the man himself, Mr. Misawa, a picture of happiness down there. What joy, what a result. And to the fans in the stands, a lot of them have already started coming around to come to the pit lane side over the bridge. And sheer joy for Misawa Racing. Victory is great anywhere. Victory in your home country, all the better. This is where Piti Bhirombhakdi feels all fingers and thumbs to try and get his helmet off to celebrate, but it was a strong, strong result. Going through the classes, the Silver Cup was indeed won by the number 29 Audi. For Phantom Pro Racing, the AM class at the end was won by the number 19 Lamborghini, so well done to Hiroshi Hamaguchi. The 3 Climax Racing Mercedes was 2nd. But Amy is down with the winners in a very, very happy place. Let's go and hear from Naoki Yokomitsu and Piti Bhirombhakdi.
Gentlemen, what a roller coaster weekend for you guys. Piti, you brought, yes you did, congratulations.
Thank you very much. We did not make any mistake today with Naoki's stint, with the team and my stint. They're all perfect. That's why.
You were cruising in your stint.
Not that cruising. I know the Butikon is catching me.
But really, congratulations. 横溝選手、もう MVP って呼んでもいいですか？予選から始まってで猛烈に後ろを抑えました。ご自身のスティント、それがあっての優勝だと思います。おめでとうございます。
いや、ありがとうございます。もう本当にもう言葉にならないですね。本当に嬉しいです。もうここまでチームも本当にいい仕事してくれたし、もうあとはドライバー頑張るだけだったんで、もう本当にチームにも感謝だし、今日もたくさんのファンの方たちが来てくれて本当に嬉しいです。もう言葉にならないです。ありがとうございます。
おめでとうございます。So he can't find the real words for this. That's how happy he is. But it's really thanks to the team and bringing the car back, and also thanks to the fans who are here cheering for them. 前澤さん、やっとですね。もうお二人に一言いただいてもよろしいですか？
もうね、
ありがとう、ありがとう、こちらこそありがとう。本当におめでとうございました。So ありがとう to the drivers and back to you.
Thank you, Amy. That is the absolute encapsulation of happiness that should be bottled. That sheer pleasure from Mr. Misawa. Brought all his supercars here, loads of fans here, and they go home with the win to celebrate. And that was a hard-earned win. So many incidents in that race, but at the end, Naoki Yokomitsu and Piti Bhirombhakdi take victory for Misawa Racing with their Ferrari. Alessio Picariello and Futakon Intra-Fuvasak, their car closing right at the end. They will go to the final round as the leaders of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia. And Weilu and Patrick Pile pick their way up the order from outside the top 10, come home in 3rd. Anthony Liu, what a rescue attempt for him. Outside the top 10 when he took over, home in 4th place. So he's still in the overall championship mix. Mattai Caroli, Jinlong Bao, 5th place. And Paul Ip and Eduardo Liberati take 6th place for Honda KCMG. But let's go down to the Japan Cup winners. There with Amy, Porsche Zenta Okazaki.
正銘ジャパンカップウィナーとなりました。おめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
永井選手、昨日はねちょっと取れないかなっておっしゃってたんですけど、晴れてチャンピオンになりました。
はい、もうすごい嬉しいです。最高です。
どんなお祝いの仕方しますか？
チームのみんなと、あと応援してるみんないますので、ちょっとトロフィーをこうみんなに見せて、はい、喜びを分かち合いたいと思います。
ぜひ分かち合ってください。So he's very, very happy about this Japan Cup champion. He will celebrate with his team together, showing the cup around. So he'll get at after this, I guess. 上村選手、今シーズン振り返っていかがでしたか？もうチャンピオンとなりまして。
いやー、永井選手と組んで初めてのチャンピオン、めちゃくちゃ嬉しいです。今大会はだから今週は特にもう我慢のレースで確実にチャンピオン取るぞっていう気持ちで走ってました。はい。
じゃあこの嬉しい気持ちをぜひねパーティーにぶつけていただければと。
はい、わかりました。ありがとうございます。
おめでとうございました。So it's this first time being partnered with Nagai Senshu, so he's very happy for this win. And this weekend was all about just calm down and just get his win, and that's what he got today. So he's very, very happy, and they're going to party hard, I guess. Back to you.
Thank you, Amy. Well, it'd be very rude not to party hard. 13th position isn't something the teams normally aim for, but it was third in the Japan Cup class today. That was, well, they only needed to finish 8th in the Japan Cup class, but there was a big helping hand at the end. D-Station Racing, unfortunately, given a drive-through penalty. They were set to win the class on the road after Kei Cozzolino's car went off. But let's take a look at the highlights, and it was a very good start from Alessio Picariello. These are all the pros in the cars. Naoki Yokomitsu being careful. Around the outside came Kei Cozzolino. Alvaro Parente, the yellow Porsche on the inside, getting a little bit muscled out, but he decided not to back off because he kept in. And that battle for third place became very, very busy around the opening lap. Side by side they went, and then on a restart, unfortunately, a little bit of damage to the 72 Porsche from Hub Auto Racing. The D-Station Racing Aston Martin in there trying to pick up points and see if he could somehow snatch the Japan Cup. Eventually, it wasn't to be. But the first two cars made good their escape. Picariello from Yokomitsu, third place, pushing very hard. Maxi Gertz in behind. The car that set the fastest lap of the race, Kei Cozzolino in that bright yellow Ferrari. Those cars started to pull clear from the rest. Waiting as long as possible, Alessio Picariello came in, but he knew this pit stop was going to waste that lead he had because there was 10 seconds extra success penalty. And look at the difference. That car in the background, Vutagorn into Fubusak, came through. I thought he might get into 4th position, but he was down in 5th position when he came past at full racing speed. He then set off after Prince Abubakar Ibrahim. He got close, he waited for the moment, and eventually he pounced. The patch-up 72 Hub Auto Racing Porsche, Maurice Chen, was picked off by a handful of others. And here's the move up the inside to gain another position. That's 2 places gained by Vutagorn into Fubusak. But no sooner had that happened, and you had cars getting pushed all over the place, including Prince Abubakar Ibrahim in the white and blue Mercedes. He was the innocent party. It matters not. He could have gone to his home race with potentially the outright championship lead, but unfortunate clash there with the number 11 Audi of Andrew Harrianto, having already had a push from Takeshi Kimura, and that put the bodywork onto the tyre. There was no way he could last the whole distance without making an extra pit stop to fix that. But the treble 5 Ferrari from Mezawa Racing sweeping in. It was being caught, but it had enough in hand. Vutagorn into Fubusak got in the end 2.5 seconds down in second, but victory to Mezawa Racing on their home patch. Third place for the number 4 Porsche from R&B Racing, but joy unabounded for Mezawa Racing. Victory, and Naoki Yokomitsu and Mezawa himself going down to share in the celebrations. So now, after those exciting highlights, we have the podium ceremony waiting for the drivers to come out. Patrick Pile and Wei Lu will be the first out for 3rd position overall. It's always very easy to pick out which driver did the first part of the race, which the second. Patrick Pile did the first part. He looks cool, calm, collected on this very hot and humid day at the Okayama International Circuit. R&B Racing will be very, very pleased with that result. And that was up from 14th position on the grid. Second place, Alessio Picariello, who led the first half of the race. He knew the car was going to have a long, long pit stop, but Vutagorn into Fubusak, picked it up, rose up from 5th place, came home in 2nd. He worked really hard in that. New championship leader, but Bidi Bironbakti there, he is the Thai driver, and on home ground, maybe the happiest man here, Naoki Yokomitsu and Mezawa-san himself out to the podium. And it's been a hard-won race for them. So congratulations, another winner's name at the very top of the pile. So there we have Naoki Yokomizo, Piti Berumbakti, top step of the podium. Second podium step, Alessio Picariello, Vutikon Intrufuvasak, the new championship leader, and Patrick Pile and Wei Lu taking third place for R&B Racing. And the trophy is being presented by Takahiro Sugira, the organising committee for GT3. He's the president of that, so he's been doing sterling duty this weekend. Third place trophies for R&B Racing. Followed by second place trophies for Alessio Picariello and AAS Motorsports team leader Vutikon Intrufuvasak. He will be the outright champion without Alessio Picariello because Alessio missed one of the rounds, but he's taking the points lead to the final round in September at Sepang. But now the winners' trophies to Mizawa Racing, to Naoki Yokomizo first, Piti Berumbakti, and the third trophy as well. There is the celebration. Talking of parties, I think it might be quite a good one in the Mizawa Racing camp today. And there we are. The Okayama International Circuit trophy will go on somebody's shelf, and I think it might be the man himself. So, final photos being taken, and I'm sure the bubbly will be unleashed. What an enthralling couple of days at the Okayama International Circuit. And so much variety in the racing, so many incidents to talk about, but such a happy podium to celebrate, and maybe that trophy could be used as a shield by Mizawa to keep the bubbly from out of his eyes, where it really, really stings. Yes, very good use of a shield. And great to hear the applause from the grandstand as well as coming up from the pit lane below. And so many battles within the overall battle. Fastest lap of the race, just to reiterate, going to the Car Guy Racing Ferrari. That ended up after that clash at turn 11, down in 16th place. The 88 Mercedes that was running so strongly in around 4th position, 3rd position. Of course, before all that happened, ended up right down the order in 29th position after having to come in and have the bodywork pulled off that was rubbing on that right rear wheel. So really unlucky for Prince Abubakar Ibrahim. So let's have a refresher on those results. There it is. Confirmation, Mizawa Racing victory for the driver who started, Naoki Yokomizo, and Piti Berumbakti, who brought it through to second place. Alessio Picariello led from pole, but the extra success penalty, 10 seconds extra, meant Vutikon Intrufuvasak had to fight back hard, coming home in second place. Then Patrick Pile and Wei Lu, third place for R&B Racing, just running down. The car that won the Silver Cup class, Kangling and Chikao, down in 18th position overall. The top car in AM was Mineki Akura, sharing with Hiroshi Hamaguchi, winning AM just the Spirit of FF Racing Lamborghini. Climax Racing's Mercedes took second in the AM class, just tucked down one position further down the overall order in 18th position. So here come the drivers out onto the podium. Comet Racing, already the Japan Cup GT3 AM champions, already on the podium. Second place in class, already on the podium, and the winners in the GT3 AM class, Hiroshi Hamaguchi on the left and Mineki Akura. So a Lamborghini ahead of Mercedes, ahead of Ferrari in GT3 AM. Climax Racing, Yi Bian and Yuki Hu, and then of course Yusuke Yamasaki, and also driving that number 7 Comet Racing Ferrari, Yorikatsu Sujiko. They started their celebrations yesterday by winning the Japan Cup GT3 AM class, and today a third place, netting them more solid points for the overall Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia challenge across the course of all 6 rounds of the championship. Started in Thailand at Buriram at the Chang International Circuit, then Fuji Speedway, Suzuka, Motegi here at Okayama International Circuit, and the finale of the overall championship will be at Sepang at the end of September in Malaysia. So, hot, humid, and that was just the pit lane. Even more hot and even more humid in the cockpit. Some fierce racing action here at Okayama International Circuit today. Some great racing and some very, very happy faces on the podium, but none more so than Mizawa Racing, that took victory on home ground with their Ferrari 488. So congratulations to Naoki Yokomizo and to Piti Berumbakti, who I'm sure will have the party of parties. We will see you all for the final round at Sepang. And after the GT3 AM podiums, once they've walked clear, we have the championship within the championship, which is the Japan Cup. It's a championship for Japanese crews across the 4 Japanese rounds. So 8 races. That's Fuji Speedway, Suzuka, Motegi, and now Okayama International Circuit. And yesterday we found out the identity of the GT3 AM champions of the Japan Cup. That was the Comet Racing Ferrari crew, who've just walked off the podium. But we're going to the Japan Cup overall podium. And we already had an interview with the winners. It's Porsche Senta Okazaki taking victory. They're number 18 Porsche, bright orange of colour, always easy to pick up. Hiroaki Nagai and Yuta Kamimura. They are the overall champions. D-Station Racing had a stab at it today. It didn't come their way. There was a drive-through penalty, but they gave it their all. 2 bottles of bubbly on the podium. So welcome out onto the podium for Porsche Senta Okazaki. Hiroaki Nagai coming out first, and his young teammate Yuta Kamimura. They worked very hard this season, super consistent and quick with it. So it's been a really strong element of the championship introduced this year. There's a China Cup element as well for the Chinese crews, but across the 4 Japanese rounds. And one of the races next year will be exclusively for Japan Cup runners, and that will be at Sugo. The championship extending to 7 rounds overall, but they will have their exclusive round at Sugo. So constantly looking forward. It's grown. The support has been absolutely huge. And this year, of course, we're running here at this final meeting of the Japan Cup. The GT4 race is separate rather than being along with the GT3s, and that was a real success yesterday. We've got that to run this afternoon. But right now, let's celebrate with Porsche Senta Okazaki, and they can let the bubbly fly because they are the Japan Cup overall champions in GT3 for 2023. Car number 18, Yuta Kamimura, Hiroaki Nagai, happy on home ground. And yes, it really does hurt when it's in the eyes. But well done, congratulations to everyone at Porsche Senta Okazaki. They worked really hard through the season and made no mistakes that were discernible. It was a strong campaign. So that's it for now for the Japan Cup for 2023. We've still got the Japan Cup GT4 to come later today, but that's it for the first race of the final day of this meeting here at Okayama International Circuit. Goodbye.